Today I wanted to talk about IBS. IBS stands for Irritable Bowel Syndrome. It's not the most pleasant thing to talk about, but I think it's something that should be talked about openly and should be far less taboo, because a lot of people suffer with IBS, I myself included. Before we begin, I want to say a disclaimer that IBS is different for everybody, so what I'm going to talk about is just my experience, how I feel, my symptoms, how I think I got IBS, and how I'm dealing with it. But for everyone, the pain can be different, the cause can be different, and the way that they deal with it is different. So if you're suffering from IBS, please listen to your own body, and if you suspect that you might have IBS, then please go and speak to a professional. Now that's out of the way, I want to share with you my story of how I got IBS and how I'm dealing with it. I recently got diagnosed with IBS, and I found it really overwhelming, and when my doctor told me I had IBS, all they really said was, it's probably IBS, don't really know what caused it. Here's a sheet from patients.co.uk, read the information, bye! So I felt really alone and really overwhelmed, and then I was told to go on a FODMAP diet, and when I looked at that, the giant list of foods I couldn't eat just, again, overwhelmed me, and honestly, I cried. I cried when I found out I had IBS, and the doctor said to me, the pain and the bloating, it'll probably just be for life, just get on with it. Now it's easy for someone to say that, but if you're actually suffering with IBS, it's not easy to get on with it. It's not okay to be in that pain every day. It's not okay to be that bloated. It doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel good. For the past 10 months, since September 2017, I have been in pain pretty much every day. I have been bloated pretty much every day, and in the last month the bloating got worse and worse, and I was just pretty much pregnant looking every day, and my stomach was rock hard, and it really, really hurt. I've also been having diarrhea pretty much every morning. Sorry if that's TMI, but I just want to be honest. And I just did not feel myself at all. So you might be wondering, what happened 10 months ago? Well, 10 months ago we went to Bali, and whilst it was beautiful, Bali and its food did not agree with me. Pretty much from the first day I got ill and I got traveller sickness, and I got it bad. In just 2 weeks I lost about 1.5 stone in weight, because I was pretty much just, anything that went in was just coming straight out. And you can see how my body changed in such a short amount of time. Essentially anything that I was eating was just making me sick and was just going straight through me, and that means all the good gut bacteria was just being flushed out, so there was a massive imbalance in my gut bacteria, and I think that just made something go wrong. And so now when I eat foods that I used to be able to eat, my body can no longer tolerate them. And that was a really good podcast that I was listening to about IBS. The doctor in that was saying that one of the causes can be a really bad case of traveller's sickness, or traveller's diarrhea, which I think for me is what caused my IBS, and I will link that podcast below. It was Dr. Hazel Wallace's podcast, really, really interesting podcast. I'll link it below. Right now I'm doing a FODMAP diet. I'm on phase 1, which is elimination, which is essentially where you have a whole list of foods that you can't eat because they are high in FODMAP. And FODMAP is an acronym that stands for fermentable oligo-dimonosaccharides and polyols. I hope I said that right. I'll put it here because I probably didn't. FODMAPs are short-chain carbohydrates that are poorly absorbed in the small intestine. And you may be wondering, after seeing that massive list of things I can't eat, and oh my god, I can't eat avocados and bananas, and they were literally the things I was surviving on. And chickpeas and beans, I was really increasing my amount of plant-based foods, and I was getting worse, so I think I might be intolerant to beans, chickpeas, legumes, which is kind of sad. So unfortunately I just don't think a vegan diet is gonna be for me. But anyway, there are still plenty of things that I can eat, and plenty of foods that I'm really loving eating. And one good thing that has come from this is that I have discovered new foods that I would have probably never tried had I not been put on a FODMAP diet, including passion fruit, Oh my god, I love passion fruit. I've been having it pretty much every morning and it is delicious. So there's still plenty of beautiful coloured foods that you can have, still plenty of fruits and vegetables, and I've just been experimenting with making breads and just different dinners, different breakfasts, just trying to mix it up and really heal my gut. But it's also important to mention that a FODMAP diet is not for life. A diet tailored to your IBS is for life, but the actual FODMAP elimination is not for life. It's actually quite dangerous to do it for more than 6 weeks because you're eliminating such a massive amount of foods. And a lot of those foods are really rich in probiotics and prebiotics and are usually great for your gut bacteria. It's just that they can, for some people, trigger IBS symptoms. So I am on the elimination phase, phase 1, and I'm going to do it for 3 weeks. Right now I'm into the 2nd week, and I think the first few days were the hardest, but now it's okay. I am missing onions a bit because whilst chives are great, they're not as rich in flavour, so I am missing the flavour of onion. But I am getting the flavour of garlic from garlic oil, which is a really, really great replacement for garlic. And once I complete this 3-week elimination of foods that may be contributing to my IBS and causing pain, I will then slowly start introducing foods, and it's going to be a really, really long process because in phase 2, essentially what you do is try and figure out what is causing you the pain, and you have to do that by introducing one food at a time and then eating that food for at least sort of 3 days to a week to see if you get a reaction. And if you do get a reaction, then you know that you were intolerable to that food and you can avoid that food and then introduce the next one. And if you're okay with that, then put that back in your diet. So it's going to be a really long process, but I am invested in this. I want to do it because I am sick of being in pain, and it's really important that I take care of my body and that you take care of your body. So now I want to talk about IBS in general and what actually causes IBS. Well, truth be told, the exact cause of IBS is pretty much unknown. Not really sure what triggers it, but there are a few things that are suspected to potentially cause IBS, and those include genetics. If you have a history of IBS in your family, then you are more likely to get it. Severe illness, diarrhea, traveler's sickness, like me. Or it may be that you have oversensitive nerves in your gut, or that food is just passing through your intestines too quickly or too slowly. So what are the symptoms of IBS and what does it actually feel like? Well, again, it's different to everyone, but for me, it's being massively bloated. And not just like the food baby that you see people joking about. I look like I'm about to give birth. Rock hard, painful, lower abdominal bloating. It's pretty much like this. You can also get constipation, but for me it was diarrhea. As I said, pretty much every morning, sorry TMI, and it was just like I would wake up and I would have to go to the bathroom. And if I ate something that didn't agree with me, it pretty much just went straight through me. But the most debilitating and probably the worst symptom is the pain. I get pain in the exact same place every time that I react to a food, and it's just below my belly button. Just below my belly button, right here, that I will get pain, and it will feel like a cramping and then like someone's wringing my insides. Sometimes it's mild and I can get on with it and just smile and pretend nothing's happening. And other times it hurts so much that I either have to lie on the floor with my feet up against the wall, or I have to just squeeze my stomach and lie on my front and just like rock and try and soothe the pain. And I have cried because the pain has been so bad. And sadly, yes, IBS does affect your life, but it does not have to take over your life. One thing I am worried about is social situations. It's hard enough going out for a meal or being invited somewhere and having to explain that I'm dairy and gluten-free, but to now have to be like, oh, I'm dairy, gluten, beans, legumes, onion, garlic, mushroom-free. It's just gonna be a nightmare. So I'm probably gonna have to eat before, eat afterwards, or maybe order sides and just try and choose plainer foods, which may sound boring, but it is a sacrifice that is, I think, worth it to have healthy guts and still get to go out with friends and family, because you shouldn't let IBS stop you having a social life. So what treatments are actually available? Well, sadly, there is no cure for IBS. It is all about controlling the symptoms and tailoring the treatment to you. The first thing is through diet. Like I said before, following a low FODMAP diet can really help. In fact, it helps for around 70% of people, But I actually read a really interesting study that said yoga is as effective as a FODMAP diet for healing and soothing symptoms of IBS. About 70% of people feel better doing yoga and doing a low FODMAP diet. So I'm thinking it's going to be a really good idea to combine them both. And that leads us in to exercise. Exercise is a really great way to also soothe symptoms, whether that's a gentle bit of yoga, going for a walk, or smashing out a HIIT session. Moving your body is always going to make you feel better, and I know that for me it definitely makes a difference. If I blub around, then I feel worse, my digestion is sluggish, I will react more to foods, I'm more susceptible to bloating. But if I move, especially if I move first thing in the morning, then I feel so much better. I feel like my food is digested better, I feel like I utilise the energy better, and I'm in a much better mood. And the third thing is stress. Stress, anxiety, low mood, they all contribute to the health of your gut. And stress is a big one. It can really flare up your IBS, make symptoms worse, and just leave you feeling really crappy. So it's really important to de-stress, which I think is why yoga is a great idea. So I really hope that that helps you in some way. If you're suffering with IBS, if you know someone who's suffering with IBS, if you suspect that you have IBS, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know how you deal with IBS, what you find helps, or if you've just learned something, because I really think it's a topic that should be spoken about more. I never get why people are uncomfortable talking about things, because we're all human, we all have bowels, so why not just talk about it? If you enjoyed this video, as I said, if you found it helpful in any way, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, because it means the world to me to know that people are watching this and that it's helping someone out there. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you know when I post a new video, which is every single Friday. So please go ahead and subscribe, because I would love to have you as part of the Karma clan. And please go ahead and check out my blog where I talk about pretty much anything to do with health and fitness. I share lots of recipes, workouts, and we talk about stuff like IBS. And if you're feeling down, just know that you're not alone and you are the man to Ray. I can't resist a t-shirt with a good pun. Have a wonderful day. Bye!